Hello to all astrology enthusiasts. In this video, we'll be discussing the effects of the full moon in Scorpio for all 12 zodiac signs. Let me also remind you that the full moon closes the period starting from November 1st, 2024, and the waning moon will be in effect until May 27, 2025. Now is the perfect time to wrap up your affairs related to the full moon in Scorpio in a specific house of your horoscope, to understand something, to clarify something, to cleanse and free yourself from something. Aries. The full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 8th house of the horoscope, which is directly the house of Scorpio, the house ruled by Pluto. Here, this full moon will draw your attention to very deep personal transformations that will affect your intimate life, your finances, financial obligations, and the theme of personal psychology and hidden emotions. For you, this is a period when your intuition and ability for self-analysis will be extremely strong. Situations may arise that will force you to confront those parts of your personality or life that you usually prefer to hide or avoid. The 8th house is associated with the resources we share with other people, as well as with those areas of life that require a complete release from certain old forms and structures in order for a new phase to begin. The full moon in Scorpio here can lead you to significant moments of revelation and insight and understanding, which will grant you access to these hidden emotions or certain blocked fears. During this period, you may encounter situations related to financial matters, especially if they involve debts, taxes, inheritance, or shared resources. In other words, this is a time when you really need to carefully resolve your important financial issues, thoroughly sort out matters with your partner, or perhaps even conduct negotiations related to the fair division of shared property. Also, the full moon in Scorpio may affect the intimate side of your relationships, prompting you to realize what needs to be let go of or released in your relationships in order to move to a new level of mutual understanding, or perhaps to bring certain relationships to a close. Here, you may perhaps feel the need to free yourself from toxic connections, or, on the contrary, to deepen and further strengthen the meaningful relationships you already have, or even the existing ones. In addition, pay attention to the profound insights that come from your subconscious. It's possible that certain hidden resentments will surface for you, which you simply need to let go of, as well as some internal energetic blockages. There may be situations where you encounter issues of power and control, and how these manifest in your personal relationships or in your interactions with colleagues. And in order to work through the energies of the full moon in Scorpio, it is important for you to pay attention to these areas of your life. It is also important to let go of the past, to allow yourself to go through this process of deep transformation and to do some psychological work on yourself. You can consult a specialist to work through your inner fears and the topic of forgiveness. You can also use spiritual practices. This is a time to learn to trust your intuition, to let go of everything old that you no longer need in your life, and to prepare for a new period, to be open to new personal changes. I wish you success. See you soon. Taurus, the full moon in Scorpio, affects your 7th house of the horoscope and focuses your attention on relationships and partnerships. For you, this may be a period when you face a decisive moment in your personal life, whether it's romantic relationships, business partnerships, collaboration with close people, or business interactions. The full moon here in the 7th house and in Scorpio will also require you to reassess your relationships, uncover hidden aspects in your partnerships, and possibly bring closure to those that no longer serve you, or on the contrary, demand changes. And this may also be a moment when your partners reveal themselves in a new way, and you will need to learn to adapt to changes and understand what exactly should be left in the past in your relationships. On the level of romantic relationships, the full moon in Scorpio can bring intense experiences and strong emotions related to how you generally share your personal life with another person. Here you may come to realize that your relationship lacks depth or emotional connection, Or on the contrary, you might encounter issues such as jealousy, control, manipulation, or power struggles. This is a time when it is important to allow yourself to let go of old grievances and fears that exist within the relationship. And the full moon may also bring you situations where you notice hidden aspects of your relationship with your partner that have gone unnoticed for a very long time. For you, this is certainly an opportunity for honest conversations, for forgiveness, to clear things out and, so to speak, prepare the space and make room for something new. Business partnerships will also be in the spotlight during this full moon. Here you may need to reconsider existing agreements, the distribution of responsibilities, and the collaboration itself. The full moon may bring you to a point where you need to make an important decision about whether to continue or end business relationships, and to determine whether these relationships have become dependent or strained. And of course, there may be a need to reconsider issues of trust, mutual responsibility, and how you handle disagreements and misunderstandings in partnerships. In order to work through the energy of the full moon in Scorpio, especially in the 7th house, you definitely need to pay attention to your sphere of communication and relationships, and be prepared to let go of toxic relationships, uncover hidden dynamics in partnerships, and analyze how you generally perceive your role in any relationship. Here it's important not only to decide what you need to let go of, but also to actually do it. This is a very good time to free yourself from old resentments, mistrust, certain fears, and any suppressed emotions. All of this will, over time, improve your communication. It's very important to pay attention to the theme of balance and equality in relationships. And the full moon in Scorpio will urge you to reconsider how harmoniously efforts and responsibilities are distributed in your partnerships and whether your relationships are respecting your personal boundaries. Use this moment to your advantage. I wish you success. See you. Gemini, the full moon in Scorpio in your 6th house of the horoscope draws your attention to matters of health, work, your daily responsibilities, as well as, if you have any, your pets. All of this will come to the forefront during this full moon. For you, this is a period when you may experience or go through very deep transformations in these areas of life. And during this full moon, you may realize that your usual approach to work, health, and self-care no longer satisfies your interests and needs. Or on the contrary, you may feel that it is time to reassess and clear your space and your daily responsibilities of anything unnecessary. The 6th house is associated with issues of self-discipline, service, and work. This is the kind of work, daily work, that is to some extent even obligatory. And the full moon in Scorpio here stimulates us to work specifically with those aspects that require change and transformation. Naturally, the sun will highlight exactly what you need to pay attention to. This is a very pivotal moment for you. You will be forced to or will encounter what is hindering your development in your professional sphere or what is negatively affecting your health. And first of all, you should pay attention to your health and habits that will require serious changes. You may have ignored or overlooked this before, but now you might encounter either some painful conditions, chronic ailments, or some kind of internal emotional imbalance. All of this requires your attention. It's a time for healing, for wellness practices, for cleansing both physically and psychologically. And here you will be summing up the results of this period. Maybe you have been going through a wellness program and now you will see the results of your efforts. And from a work perspective, the full moon here may lead you to realize that your professional routine or your work relationships also need changes. Maybe you're stuck in some familiar work patterns, or maybe your job has become too monotonous, too exhausting. There's a heightened level of stress here, and you might just want to finish something, maybe even quit and change your field, or reconsider your role in the team and lighten your workload. Overall, the full moon in the 6th house in Scorpio will help you uncover hidden dynamics in your everyday interactions with colleagues, subordinates, and close people. These are the things that happen to us every day, and to become aware of certain things, to remove something, to improve something. This can be done by taking an honest look at what's going on. And in order to work through the energies of this full moon, you need to pay attention specifically to your health, to the topic of work, daily routines, mindfulness, and self-discipline, and to review, restructure, finish, or complete something. It's also very beneficial to engage in various spiritual practices to reduce stress related to the 6th house. And it's important for you to establish a balance between your personal life and your work. I wish you success. See you soon. Cancers, the full moon in Scorpio took place in your 5th house of the horoscope. And here your attention shifts entirely to matters of romantic relationships, love, interactions with children, as well as everything related to creativity and your self-expression. The full moon here becomes a moment of very profound changes for you in how you express your individuality, how you open yourself up to romantic experiences, how you participate in your creative initiatives and projects, and how you bring them to life. The 5th house traditionally governs personal pleasures, romantic relationships, and in general how we find joy in life, how we express ourselves, and how we interact with children. The full moon in Scorpio here, which is ruled by Pluto, creates an atmosphere of transformation where you will need to reconsider some old beliefs in these areas of life and gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your true desires. For example, on the creative level, the full moon can activate hidden talents. Considering that the black moon is also present here, it will be helpful. And these are talents that you previously ignored or weren't even aware of. You might feel a desire here to create something truly meaningful, not just something that brings you joy, but also something that gives you a personal transformation. Here, you may feel that the time has come in your life to express yourself more boldly, more sincerely, more brightly, and to break down some old barriers that have been holding back your creativity. This is truly a very good and opportune time to finally finish up some of those old creative projects that have been stalled or delayed for quite a while, and to thoughtfully prepare for launching exciting new initiatives that will really showcase your inner sense of renewal and growth. The full moon in Scorpio suggests that the time has come to step outside your comfort zone and seek completely new forms of self-expression. In romantic relationships, the full moon here can become a kind of turning point when you need to rethink your feelings and your connections with loved ones. And for you, this is a period when you realize that relationships which seem perfect at first glance actually contain some very hidden problems or underlying tension. Scorpio in the 5th house intensifies themes of passion and intimacy, but also brings up issues of jealousy or control. And here, situations may arise where you start to see your partner in a new light, or you will be forced, so to speak, to sort out your own feelings that, well, up until now you have been hiding or suppressing. And here it is important to learn to let go of everything old, to forgive, and to open yourself up to deeper, more genuine relationships. The positive side of the full moon here is that it helps to reveal these hidden dynamics in your romantic experiences. In the context of interacting with children, you may immerse yourself, so to speak, in the topic of parenting. Realize how your relationships with your children are developing and which aspects need to change. Perhaps it's about changing certain approaches to upbringing. And if we're talking about leisure and hobbies, that's also the 5th house, the theme of the 5th house. Here, the full moon in Scorpio will inspire you to dive deeper into your passion or hobby. And in order to work through the energies of this full moon, pay special attention to the themes of the 5th house. This is a time of cleansing, a time to let go of old emotions and relationship patterns, everything that hinders your creative expression. And the full moon will gently and gradually prompt you to finally free yourself from all of this. And so to speak, thoughtfully and carefully prepare your own personal space, making it ready for exciting new creative forms of self-expression. I wish you success. Lions. The full moon in Scorpio in your 4th house of the horoscope puts the spotlight on matters related to your home, family, lineage, family history, roots, and your place of residence, where you live and how you live there, as well as how you feel emotionally in the place where you live. The full moon creates a very powerful field for transformation in your personal and family relationships, your relationships with your parents, as well as matters concerning your home. The 4th house is the house of our inner world, our sense of security, our roots, our heritage, and how, in general, we feel within our close environment. Scorpio, as a sign of very deep changes and transformations, can prompt you to break some old ties, for example, with your relatives, or, on the contrary, to resolve misunderstandings and strengthen those relationships. In general, Scorpio is a sign that is not afraid of hidden and often painful processes. And the full moon in this sign will present you with challenges related to forgiveness, cleansing, and transformation on an emotional level, specifically connected to your family ties. Your family or home environment may become an especially important source of tension or personal transformation. You may encounter situations that will make you look at your family relationships or your home from a completely new and perhaps unexpected perspective. For you, this is a time to deal with any unfinished business or unresolved issues from the past, which could be connected either to your childhood, your parents, or even your marriage partner. And one of the main themes of this full moon is to thoughtfully reassess and reflect on your family relationships, as well as your close ties within your lineage, considering how these connections have shaped your life up to this point. You may encounter problems that will reveal your role in the family or how you interact with your children and parents. How do these relationships affect your sense of self overall? What is important? It is important here to get rid of everything unnecessary, of the old, of any fears connected to the themes of the 4th house of the horoscope. Also, the issue of your place of residence, your home, or possibly moving or relocating will be relevant for you here. And maybe in November you started a simple renovation. Now you will finish it and see the results of your efforts. Overall, in order to work through the energies of this full moon, you first and foremost need to let go of any emotional attachments and resentments that are specifically connected to family and home matters. And so to speak, cleanse your inner emotional energy, free yourself from old patterns of behavior and interaction with close relatives, and work through any past traumas related to your family history. Use this energy to your advantage, and I wish you success. Virgo, the full moon in Scorpio took place in your 3rd house of the horoscope, the house of information, interaction with a large number of people, movement, interaction with brothers and sisters, travel, interaction with various gadgets, technology, and above all, this is the house of information. It is also closely connected to our intellectual activity in general, the house of thinking and communication. And here, the full moon in your 3rd house will create situations where a deep transformation in perception will be useful or necessary in your perception of information, in your connections, and in terms of communication and interaction with your close environment. The full moon will allow you to sort out some hidden aspects of communication, to resolve certain conflicts, misunderstandings, and unclear moments. All of this will now come to the surface, Secrets may be revealed, hidden feelings may come to light during this full moon, specifically through communication, through dialogue. Your old beliefs or certain patterns of communication may change. Here the sun will highlight exactly what you need to pay attention to. There may be some emotional blocks or limitations. In other words, you need to free your mind from everything old, from all the clutter. And in order to develop completely new patterns of behavior, it's beneficial here to interact with your brothers and sisters, with close people. And perhaps these relationships require some kind of transformation. It is very important, and it really helps to work through the energies of this full moon in your third house, to simply have the ability to listen. If you encounter such situations in these areas of life, it's best to listen, to really hear, to voice your expectations, to express your needs, so that the most honest dialogue possible leads to an improvement in your various social connections. I wish you success. See you. Libra, the full moon in Scorpio in your second house of the horoscope gives you an opportunity to draw some conclusions regarding your finances, your financial well-being, your stability, and it specifically focuses your attention on values, resources, and material security. The second house is the house of money, possessions, and how we generally assess our own self-worth. The full moon in Scorpio here can trigger profound changes in your perception regarding finances, sources of income, and how you manage your material resources in general. In other words, this is a time when you will see the hidden aspects of your attitude toward money and possessions, and you will feel the need to make some changes in these areas of your life. That is, you may reassess your financial and material values. Scorpio is a sign of transformation, a sign of purification. The full moon will encourage you to look at your finances and your values from a different perspective, and to notice things that you have ignored or simply not seen until now. It's a great time to get rid of limiting financial beliefs and free yourself from patterns regarding money. In general, it's also a good opportunity to reorganize your finances. Additionally, the second house is responsible for self-esteem, value, and our abilities. Perhaps the full moon will guide you to reconsider this aspect of your life and help you understand how you express yourself, how you value yourself, and how others treat you. Overall, Scorpio is a sign that often grapples with the themes of power and control, and in the context of the second house, it may in particular motivate you to reconsider your relationship with control, whether that's control over your finances or over your self-esteem. And in order to truly work through the energies of this full moon, you need to free yourself from old attachments to material things, get rid of any financial fears, set completely new financial priorities, and understand what is truly important to you, and on the contrary, what is unnecessary and needs to be let go of. During this full moon, you will be able to realize that your resources are not just money, but also your inner resources, your energy, time, talents, and abilities. And all of these can also be used to your advantage or even monetized to open up new sources of income. Overall, it's a moment of awareness regarding the themes of the second house. I wish you to use these energies to your benefit. See you. Bye. Scorpios, the full moon is in your sign, in your first house of the horoscope. And for you, of course, this is a special full moon that activates your personal transformations and focuses your attention on outward expression, on the theme of personal identity. And here there may be personal crises. In general, the first house is the house of personality, appearance, and first impressions. And it is precisely through this house that you Scorpios will experience very deep changes that affect how you perceive the world, how others perceive you, and what in general influences this perception. The full moon can be a time of very intense self-discovery, when you will see the hidden sides of your character, behavior, needs, and desires. All of this will come to the surface and, of course, will bring about certain changes and inner transformations. One of the main tasks for you during this full moon is to let go of old ideas about yourself. Because Scorpio, as you know, is a sign of very deep changes. And a full moon in this sign naturally has a strong impact on your personality. And above all, helps you cleanse yourself of anything that hinders your growth. You may encounter inner conflicts between who you once were and who you want to become in the future. So in other words, your old version of yourself is fading away here, and a new personality is gradually beginning to emerge. There may be physical changes, and you might have been taking steps over the past 6 months and are now seeing the results. This could be a change in your clothing style, hairstyle, some cosmetic procedures, or even just a new way of expressing yourself when interacting with others. In addition, you can reconsider all areas of your life here, because the first house affects absolutely everything related to the self. And this can include both personal relationships and work relationships. Perhaps 6 months ago, you started a new field of activity or maybe a new position at work. And now you can already see the results of your efforts. Overall, the idea of this full moon in your sign is to cleanse yourself of everything unnecessary, be reborn, and move on to a completely new stage of life. Work through issues of control, power, and manipulation. Let go of all that, release control, and move more towards acceptance and understanding of how to change your life for the better. Get rid of old masks, so to speak, and become more authentic, more individual. By letting go of the need to control every outcome, you open yourself up to new possibilities and deeper self-awareness. Removing those old masks means shedding the roles and expectations that no longer serve you, allowing your true self to emerge and thrive in a more genuine and unique way. This is a very good period for you. I wish you success. See you soon. Sagittarius, the full moon in Scorpio is occurring in your 12th house of the horoscope. And of course, a full moon in such a sign, especially in the 12th house, will have a significant impact on your life, touching on very deep hidden areas of your life, your subconscious, your emotional and energetic blocks, and your spiritual quests. Overall, the 12th house is the house of secrets, the house of hidden feelings. It is the house where we do very deep psychological work with ourselves. We immerse ourselves in self-analysis. We seek solitude. And so to speak, we want to dive into the depths. And in this house, just like in the 8th, very serious transformations take place. Personal transformations that bring us emotional healing and a kind of spiritual purification. We are preparing for a completely new period in our lives. But before we begin, we must make room and clear space. We need to cleanse ourselves. We need to become aware, let go, get rid of, and finish everything we no longer need. And of course, there will be very intense psychological and emotional experiences here. After all, Scorpio is associated with emotions, very deep ones. By the way, you could consider going to psychotherapy to get support, or you could go on a long journey to spend some time alone with yourself. It's very important to rest more, to give yourself more time for reflection, to let go of resentments and fears, to focus specifically on forgiveness, and to pay attention to your intuition and dreams. All of this relates to the 12th house. And it is precisely the full moon in Scorpio that will activate these things. And in order to work through the energies of the full moon, you definitely need to go deep. You can support yourself through meditation, psychotherapy, yoga, or by using some breathing exercises. You can also express hidden or suppressed emotions through creativity, allowing them to come to the surface. The main thing is to devote time to yourself in order to prepare for a new stage in life. I wish you success. See you soon. Capricorns, the full moon in Scorpio is in your 11th house of the horoscope. Here it touches on themes of your social connections, your group activities, participation in some kind of teamwork, and friendships will also come to the forefront, as well as, in general, the topic of your social standing. In addition, through the 11th house, considering that this full moon in Scorpio is very intense, you will be able to focus here on your dreams, hopes, plans, and ambitions for your future life. Overall, the 11th house is about collectives. It's about a large number of people with whom we interact in order to achieve big and important goals. And here you may be summing up certain results in your friendships or in some kind of collective activities or projects. Perhaps you have participated in some cultural events or projects, and now you're drawing conclusions and looking at the results of your efforts. Overall, social relationships and your circle of communication will come to the forefront. You will notice things that you previously overlooked, didn't see, or ignored, and the sun will highlight exactly what you need to pay attention to. Perhaps you will now start thinking that your friends no longer share your values, that they haven't been like-minded for a long time, and it's time to end these relationships. Also, reconsider your dreams and ambitions. By the way, this will also help ground the energies and work through the energies of this full moon. Now is the perfect time to look at your social connections in terms of values and the toxicity of relationships. If these relationships do not contribute to your growth, they need to be ended. If you realize that there is growth, you should maintain them. The main thing is to make, so to speak, changes in these relationships to strengthen them. And also, in general, your personal liberation will happen through group activities. So if you are searching for answers to your important questions, by getting involved in group activities, you will find those answers. In general, self-analysis will help you work through the energies of this full moon, as will evaluating your friendships, social connections, your value system, ambitions, and dreams. And all of this will be colored and accompanied by very strong emotions. Therefore, engage in honest and open conversations in order to establish mutual understanding, improve interaction, and get rid of anything unnecessary. I wish you success. See you soon. Aquarius, the full moon in Scorpio in your 10th house of the horoscope affects important aspects of your career, your social status, and your professional image. Additionally, it may concern official marital relationships. Overall, the 10th house is associated with our achievements, specifically professional and external ones, our goals, our reputation, and everything related to our social role. And Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto, will bring intense changes and very deep, profound transformations here, prompting you to reconsider your career path and to carefully reassess your goals regarding your social and public status. The full moon will prompt you to reflect on your professional future and on how you can take your life to an entirely new level. There will be career changes. You can sum up the results of, for example, working in a new position over the past 6 months. You can analyze your relationships with management or within your professional circle. Everything that is toxic, everything that hinders your growth in relationships, we get rid of, cleanse, and bring to an end. And here during this full moon, you will see the hidden aspects of your career and your professional activities in general. Perhaps now you will pay attention to certain situations related to your reputation, your professional image and status, which you previously hadn't noticed, seen, or simply ignored. And overall, there will be situations involving management, authority, influential people, especially if there are unresolved conflicts or some hidden tensions. All of this will now come to the forefront and give you the opportunity to work through certain issues or even bring them to a complete close. But in order to really work through the energy of this full moon in your 10th house, it's very important to let go of old behavioral patterns that you have been following specifically in your professional life, and to give up anything that hinders your career growth. Perhaps you will now decide to end a certain professional activity and move into a new field, or to finish some professional relationships with colleagues, or to resolve situations of misunderstanding. Here it is important to let go of everything unnecessary through forgiveness, through letting go, and through closure. The topics of power and control will also be relevant. After all, this is Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. And it would be good to reconsider your relationships with management. And in general, pay attention to this area of your life. Use this energy to your advantage. I wish you success. See you. Pisces, the full moon in Scorpio took place in your 9th house of the horoscope and touched on significant and impactful topics related to your life philosophy, your worldview, and in particular matters of long-distance travel, education, and connections and communications with people from abroad, whether personal or business related. And let me remind you that the 9th house is ruled by Jupiter. It is essentially associated with the search for truth, the search for meaning in life, and how we perceive the world in general, and at what profound level. And Scorpio is a sign of deep transformations, very intense emotions, which are ruled by Pluto. Pluto is currently in retrograde, and all of this is now being reconsidered and coming to the surface. Very profound changes are taking place in your spiritual and intellectual life. And the full moon here brings with it the energy to reconsider your views on the world, your life goals, how you perceive other people's values, different ideas, and what you incorporate into your own life. In general, the 9th house helps us put our theoretical knowledge into practice to realize it in life. And it makes us pay attention precisely to our beliefs, our philosophy of life, our views on spirituality and morality. In other words, this is a time when you may experience moments of interpersonal crisis, or on the contrary, discoveries, certain revelations, and insights in the areas related to this house. There will be situations where you will need to reconsider your beliefs, to reassess your relationships, especially any interactions connected with people from abroad, with foreigners. Perhaps right now you are actually finishing up these interactions, and over the past 6 months you have been actively involved, for example, in a business partnership at the international level. Now you can sum up the results of this partnership, or you may have participated in some kind of cultural project, and now you realize that this project has completely changed your worldview. Or perhaps you have been on some distant journeys that have completely transformed your outlook on life and brought entirely new meanings into your life. This is also a good time for resolving various legal and juridical matters, and it is possible that right now you will receive some concrete result in these areas of your life. Overall, in terms of the 9th house, you may also have met a mentor with whom you have been actively interacting over the past 6 months, and now you can sum up the results of this interaction. Or perhaps you were taking a course or studying a foreign language, and now you are already seeing the results. Overall, the full moon in Scorpio is very emotional, and all these changes related to these areas of life will be very profound and highly transformative. And in order to work through the energy of this full moon, you need to immerse yourself in this process of self-discovery, reconsider your values, your worldview, matters of spirituality and meaning, and reassess your relationships with people from abroad. Perhaps now is the time to end certain relationships, take them to a new level, or carefully plan a new journey. Or perhaps you have traveled and decided to move to another country, And now is the perfect time to make that decision, to realize that yes, it is final, and to start taking new steps to implement this idea. Overall, use this energy to your advantage. I wish you success. Subscribe, like, and share this video. See you soon.